the fight nobody asked for but somehow everyone couldn't look away from. Jake Paul, fresh off his "I'm a real boxer" tour, decides his next move should be squaring off with a literal legend, a man who once made the world quake in fear. Yup, Mike Tyson. Bold choice, Jake. Let's see how that went. Fans were divided. Half tuned in hoping for a miracle where Jake somehow beats a boxing icon. The other half? They just came for the memes. Eagerly anticipating the exact moment Jake realizes he's not sparring with another influencer, he's sharing the ring with Mike Tyson. The commentary crew, they had questions. During the fight, Tyson was caught doing something odd with his glove. Was it having a bite of cornbread? I don't know. Or a multi-part simile with a pumpkin who closes his mouth and forms a glove when he opens it? Oh, wait, what? Why, you ask? Tyson chuckled and gave a classic Tyson-esque response. I have a biting fixation. Because of course, in a sport full of cutting-edge techniques, gnawing on your gloves is the next big innovation. And let's not forget, Tyson fought with an injury, something he refused to use as an excuse. I did. I wouldn't be in here, he stated. Because who needs athletic integrity when this whole event was more about spectacle than sport anyway? All in all, this fight didn't just blur the line between professional boxing and entertainment, it obliterated it. If nothing else, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson gave us one undeniable truth. In boxing, anything can happen, even glove biting. Mike Tyson isn't just your average 55-year-old. He's a walking science experiment, powered by a cocktail of hormones, electric muscle stimulation, and a daily regimen that ensures he can obliterate a punching bag, and probably Jake Paul, without so much as a bead of sweat. This isn't your grandpa's boxing comeback story. This is Tyson 2.0, trained by none other than Rafael Cordero, an MMA coaching legend. Meanwhile, Jake Paul, he trains with, mostly his ego. The weigh-in turned into an unplanned exit strategy for Jake Paul when Mike Tyson's legendary hands delivered an unexpected slap. Was it a pre-fight handshake gone wrong, or just Tyson casually reminding Jake who's still the boss in the boxing world? Either way, Jake's face now bears the unmistakable mark of Tyson's autograph in handprint form. And social media erupted faster than Jake could stammer. It was just for show. Within moments, the internet was ablaze with memes. Paul versus Tyson? Nah, the real undercard was Jake versus his ego. One thing's crystal clear, Tyson still got it, and Jake? Oh, he might want to rethink stepping onto the scales or into the ring with a living legend again. I don't make excuses, Tyson said, making it abundantly clear that despite not being at 100%, the loss was still Jake's win. What he didn't elaborate on was what less than 100% really meant. But hey, sure Mike, let's all pretend that Jake Paul, a guy whose toughest opponent to date has been a YouTube algorithm, somehow toppled a former heavyweight champion. Tyson's refusal to lean into excuses kept everyone intrigued, though you could almost hear the unspoken wink as he casually mentioned an injury and promptly moved on. Jake, of course, wasn't going to let the moment slip by. Respect to the legend, he posted, followed by a not-so-humble, but a win's a win. Because if you can't win gracefully, why not rub it in while the champ is already down? Of course, Jake Paul thinks he has a shot. Maybe he watched Mike Tyson's exhibition match with Roy Jones Jr. and thought, hey, he didn't punch Roy in the face, I'll be fine. Spoiler alert, this isn't a gentleman's agreement. If Mike decides to swing, Jake might find himself reevaluating his entire career mid-punch. Post-fight, Tyson took a moment to explain his shocking loss to Jake Paul. Though, true to form, he insisted it wasn't an excuse. When asked if this would be his last fight, Mike Tyson waved off the idea, claiming he still had plenty left in the tank. More of what exactly? Biting banter? Glove-chewing antics? Whatever it is, he hinted at the possibility of facing Logan Paul next. Maybe his brother, Tyson quipped, because clearly the Paul brothers are the new Mount Everest of boxing. As for the pre-fight drama? Water under the bridge. Tyson nonchalantly referred to the slap he received as a good slap, sounding more impressed than offended. Who needs grudges when you can just add another layer of spectacle to the show? Boxing fans came expecting a fight, but left wondering if they'd actually tuned into a comedy special. Tyson and the Paul brothers might not redefine the sport, but they've certainly redefined entertainment. The Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson matchup is here, redefining the art of cringe. On one side, you have Jake Paul, a self-proclaimed boxer with a grand total of 4 or 5 years of training under his belt. Sure, he's average, and in this context, that's almost a compliment for someone who transitioned from TikTok dances to throwing punches. Calling this a competitive matchup is downright comedic. It's like lining up a toddler against a Formula One car and insisting it's a fair race. But hey, let's play along and pretend Jake stands a chance. Just don't kid yourself into believing he's about to do anything other than fulfill his role as a human punching bag for a boxing legend who's been retired long enough to know better. Competitive? Hardly. Entertaining? Absolutely. For all the wrong reasons. In one corner of the ring, we have Mike Tyson, a former heavyweight champion and a living legend whose career peaked over 25 years ago. At 58 years old, Tyson has been retired longer than Jake Paul has even been boxing. Yet somehow, this is being billed as a competitive fight. Let's take a closer look at this circus. Tyson, the man who once bit off a piece of Evander Holyfield's ear and delivered knockouts with the ferocity of a wild animal, is now a 58-year-old veteran with decades of wear and tear on his body. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's most notable achievement isn't throwing punches, it's knocking out YouTubers and retired MMA fighters in glorified slap fights. And now, Jake's stepping into the ring with the legend who's faced and beaten some of the world's most fearsome athletes. Sure, it's entertaining, but calling it competitive, that's just pure comedy. Experts are trying and failing to mask their enthusiasm, read sarcasm, for this historic clash. Mike Tyson's unmatched power and legacy meet Jake Paul's social media clout. What could possibly go wrong? Maybe Jake lands a punch on the man who once ruled the heavyweight division. Or maybe Tyson's 58-year-old joints decide to call it quits mid-round, a spectacle masquerading as sport. In a move of absolute brilliance, or cynicism, Netflix decided this masterpiece wasn't pay-per-view material. Instead, it's subscription only. Because what better way to boost streaming sales than a fight literally no one asked for? Experts are predicting huge numbers, and by huge, they mean enough to bankroll more pointless matchups down the line. Meanwhile, boxing's legacy is dragged another mile through the mud, leaving fans wondering, when exactly did the sweet science become just another episode of reality TV? Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. No, it's not a fever dream, it's actually happening. And as expected, the UFC roster is having an absolute blast. Sean Strickland, always the comedian, chimed in with, "What's next? Jake versus a T-Rex?" Honestly, Sean, it's 2024 at this point. Anything's on the table. Then there's Conor McGregor, the king of opportunistic timing, who added his 2 cents, "I'd fight the winner if they make it out alive." Classic Conor, always ready to dive headfirst into a publicity stunt. We can only imagine the thought process. Fighter of the decade? Nah. Fighter of the most ridiculous matchup? Now we're talking. And Nate Diaz, not to be outdone, decided to make it even weirder. "I'll ref it for free, no gloves needed." Wait. No gloves? This isn't the kind of fight where we're worrying about rules. It's the kind where we're just hoping someone survives. Daniel Cormier, ever the realist, delivered the final punchline, "If Mike sneezes, Jake's career ends." Brutal, but fair. Someone get Jake a box of tissues, because even Cormier knows that one Tyson misstep could be curtains for Paul. Meanwhile, Dana White? Oh, you know he's already calculating ticket prices. Double them, triple them, why not? People will pay to witness the chaos no matter how absurd it is. And absurd it will be. Love it or hate it, Jake versus Tyson is shaping up to be one of the most nonsensical spectacles in sports history. But let's be honest, we're all buying tickets anyway.